Hey, this is Joe at Cursive. Thanks so much for attending the training. Wanted to make sure that you all had a recording in any case that somebody wanted to go back and revisit any of these topics, or if a new faculty wanted to implement Cursive in their own classroom. So first and foremost, Cursive is an authorship and analytics tool for writing that happens in your Moodle courses. It's personalized, so every student has information about their own writing. We calculate analytics and new information about the writing process that happens in Moodle. We help to validate and to verify that the writing happened is attributable to that student. We calculate effort, which I'll explain in a little bit more detail later. And of course, you can replay the entirety of the writing process. Now, we are a certified integration partner for Moodle, and we're really happy to be installed on your site. Now, writing before Cursive was really focused on kind of the product, right? The static text that students ultimately submit. Often that's an upload to a site, which really doesn't tell us a lot about how students created that writing. Before, it was just a couple clicks in the logs, not a lot of information that would help at all understand what a student did during the writing process. Now, when we add Cursive to assignments and your courses, we get a lot more data related to the process of writing. There's going to be thousands of data points, even for short answer questions, with rich, granular information about the writing process as it occurred. Now, we use that information to provide you all sorts of new insights about the writing process that it occurs in Moodle. First and foremost, statistics and analytics about the writing process. That can be as simple as things like the entire duration that a student spent writing, right? So how much time did they actually put into the writing process, or more complicated things like effort and authorship verification. We also provide a difference, which is a comparison of the reconstructed text from the student writing process compared to what text is ultimately submitted. And those can be different often, especially when there's pasted text or use of generative AI tools like Grammarly. And then lastly, you can replay the writing process, kind of like a video where you can see how writing occurred, the editing process as it happened. You can speed it up very quickly so that you can kind of see the student's process as it evolved over time. And those are all provided in your existing workflows as you're evaluating student work. So how do you get started? Now, Moodle's already been configured with Cursive, and your site administrator has already turned it on. So as a faculty member, all you have to do is start to integrate it. Now, you get to control whether this is on or off for your course. In your course settings, you just need to enable it, and that will give you the option to subsequently enable it in other assignments. Right now, you can use Cursive in online text assignments. So rather than checking the box for upload file, you would check the box for online text. You can use it for any of the available types of forums. You can use it for lessons where essays and essay question types are included in the lesson. And then you can obviously also use it for essay question types in quizzes. And each time a quiz runs, for each of the essay questions, Cursive will be used if you've enabled this. Now, for each assignment, you do have to make sure that it is enabled. If you go to the assignment settings, it's just a quick drop down to make sure that that has been turned off. If you want to turn it off for all assignments except for one, that's totally okay. If you want to turn it on for all assignments, also okay. Now, we should be clear that when you have Cursive turned on, students are notified of that directly in the text editor as they're using it. They see that as our logo up in the top right corner. And if they hover over that, they get more information to let them know that Cursive is active, that that drafting information and revision history are being captured as part of that submission. We'd also recommend that you provide some proactive notification to students, in either notification in the course to say it in one of your early classes as you describe the different academic integrity or writing tools or student success tools that are being used in the course, or to put it in the course syllabus as a disclaimer. Now, the more that you disclose to student and involve them in the why and how of the different tools that are used, the more that students will buy into this process as they use it. Now, if your site also has the site source feature turned on, if a student tries to paste into Tiny MCE and Cursive is being used, they will be asked for an additional comment of that. They can put in anything in that field, but we would recommend asking students to put the link where the quote is coming from or the other text, or if they're pasting from Google Docs, to maybe share that Google Docs link so that you can review that information with a little bit more detail. If they cancel, the paste is removed. If they escape, the paste is removed. Only if they add some text and click Save Changes is the paste included. This doesn't prevent students from pasting within their own work, so they can kind of continue on there. But good way to get a little bit of information from students as they're pasting text. This is available to you as you're reviewing the difference feature in the analytics pop-up. The students also have a view of all of the work for courses where Cursive was involved. So if they go to their profile page and then click on writing statistics, that will go to this page and they can see holistically all of their courses. They can also sort by each course and look through all of the writing that they've done and see their overall cumulative statistics for the writing that's occurred where Cursive was enabled. Now, from the faculty and instructor view, similar views of some of the student-facing information, but more importantly is as you're evaluating students, we're trying to put Cursive right up front, exactly where you need it without adding new pages. It will open as a modal window, so it does not change or open a new tab. You'd just be able to see it, and then if you close that, the grading evaluation is right there as well. You might see that we've brought effort as a score directly to the button for analytics. I'll explain a little bit more about this, but this is to help you more quickly ascertain whether you need to dive into Cursive data. You don't always have to open it if you feel comfortable with using that number as a way to vet whether you need to do a little bit more research or investigation. But this is a quick and easy way to basically get right to the more important thing, which is evaluating the student work. Now, we provide effort as that score, but it's important to know what effort is. So effort is process, or the total verbosity, or you can think of total presses, divided by the ultimately what gets submitted to Moodle. So imagine I write 100 words and then edit that down to about 50 words as part of my submission. So that's 100 in total process divided by 50. So we get a 200% effort, right? So this is a way to kind of quantify the editing, the time, the revisions that are going into the process of writing so that we can better evaluate how students have done. Now, if I pasted a bunch of text, my effort might be lower than 100%, and we're going to call that out. Now, that would, in those cases, you might want to take a look so that you can see what the text is that has been pasted. That'll be highlighted in the difference feature, and is just an easy way and a more quick way to have information about the student writing process. Now, which is better? It will depend on the circumstances of the actual assignment and its requirements. So if you're looking for lots of editing, higher is going to be better. If you're telling students to paste in a quote and then comment or to critique that quote, then under 100% is definitely going to be expected. So it's just knowing the assignment requirements are going to help this a lot. Now, what will this look like when you're evaluating or open up the modal if you want to look at this? So low effort, which is on the right, you'll see is a lot of text is highlighted, right? So if I pasted everything in there, I'm going to get a low effort score. And then the difference when you look at that, you're going to see exactly what's pasted. When it's high effort, you're going to see not very much stuff being highlighted. So you can kind of move on and you can see a lot of the text, if not all of the text, is directly attributable to the student. So generally, higher the score, the more writing, the more revisions that a student has done. Lower the score, more likelihood that a pasted text or unattributed text has been included in the student's submission. Now, when you're looking at analytics, a couple quick things to go through. So authorship confidence is whether we believe that this is the student and continues to be the same student since the first time we saw them write. We're doing an evaluation. This is called Type ID, where we are verifying that it's the right person writing on your platform. Effort, we already talked about. The time writing is the total duration of activity minus long periods of inactivity. So it's usually is like if the student has stopped for more than 30 seconds, we'll start to not count that time. So if a student wrote an hour today and they write an hour tomorrow, that's not 26 hours of duration. That's only 2 hours total of writing. We also look at writing speed, which is something that you can chart over time for students. And we do total attributed words, which is a slightly different calculation than what Moodle will pull, which is going to look at total words in tiny MCE. So this is that difference of attributable text versus not. The difference feature is we reconstruct the text as written by the student, and then we compare that to what ultimately gets submitted in Moodle. So this is how we're able to identify pasted text, and this is a great way to go. This is also where comments from the student for the site source will be listed. So every time they paste, if they've added a comment, or if they have a bunch of quotes, you can think of this as a really quick and easy citation or a bibliography that the student has provided based on their comments. And then lastly, you can also replay the writing process. Now, this plays like a movie. You can speed it up to 10x. Longer writing is going to be a longer replay of that writing process. But if you're looking to see how students have edited and how they've constructed their arguments or how they went through that writing process, this is going to be a approximation of that writing process reconstructed in a more visual way. It's quite nice to watch. Writing is really beautiful, but I think that in concert with the analytics and with the difference feature, you have a more comprehensive contextual view of the student writing process. The writing activity report is our newest feature. This is a place for you to go. For every single course has this when Cursive is turned on, and it will give you a comprehensive view to be able to filter and sort all of the writing. It will be available to you either in the course administration block or under more, depending on what theme your site is running. But you're looking for the writing activity report somewhere near the recycle bin or the course reuse functionality, and that will drop you right into this chart. Now, we have a two-dimensional view of the information, and this can be sorted by each of the different assignments that are in your course where Cursive is used. So in this case, we're looking at typing exercise number 1, and you can see all the submissions in terms of the time that people spent and the effort that they had from their scores. Now, what's important here is that this particular test is helping to highlight one thing, is that if you have low effort, that's going to be really easy to see in the context of all student submissions. Of course, you can also download this information. If you hover over the dots, it will tell you the student's name and their statistics. So if you want to go look at that more deeply, you'll find it below in the filtered assignments that are available that reflect the information that's in that chart. If you want to download all of this information and run your own charts, or if you want to put something besides effort or time in the X and Y axis for some charts to kind of see trends by your students, or other information about how their writing speeds have changed over time or how word counts have changed, all of those are possible with a little bit of manipulation in a program like Excel. You can also get to individual student profiles with a list of all of their assignments for your course by going to the participants list and clicking on the stats, which is, I think, right above my head here. That little chart icon will open it up for each of the students. So if we look at that, you'll see basically every single assignment where Cursive was included. If you're looking at information longitudinally for a student, which it might be one use case of getting an early assignment sample and then looking at their kind of progress over time for students and their writing process, this would be a great way to be able to see that in one place. You can also, if you have multiple courses that you're teaching and you have the same student multiple course, you can always filter by those different courses. I mentioned exportable data and the manipulation in Excel. You're going to get all of the analytics data pulled directly in there. You can also download for each assignment and each student a PDF that reflects that assignment's analytics and difference feature in one easy to access place. This could be something used for student portfolios or as part of investigations. As you're looking at information, you want to document this where you have a record that's going to be there for safekeeping. Now, a couple examples in practice. We heard from Nathan at Casper College recently, where he used it to capture an early sample of writing very early in the semester. And then as writing occurred either elsewhere, right, and longer writing in Google Docs or in Microsoft, was able to use and return back to and use that comparison of the early writing sample that was collected directly in class. So can help with some of the conversations, especially when you get much higher quality writing from a student, or have a totally different tone from a student that you might be looking at other, or the potential for AI usage. This is a way to have more information in a kind of safely captured space with higher validity, a little bit more assurance and confidence in the work that is collected through Cursive. Another one of our university partners used this kind of like a blue book, similar way that they did this, but they were administering it in class where students all were at laptops or desktops. TAs and faculty were roaming around very large scale in class writing activities. This let the teachers focus directly on helping students as they're working through this, while other students were continuing to write in Cursive. Because of the way that it was administered, they believed that they were able to completely reduce the amount of AI generated content in submissions and really focus on helping students to become better writers over these several exercises. So a great success at their institution, which we hope to expand at. And another example is at Augsburg University, our partners using it in some foreign language courses where they want to make sure that students are actually doing the short answer writing. They're using that as a benchmark to kind of look at the text as it's happening, and as a preventative way to just eliminate, and to prevent the use of Google Translate and other tools in writing their foreign language submissions. So, a bunch of different ways that it can be used. No one way is the right way. We hope that we just are able to help support writing in the curriculum so that we can continue to value writing as an essential skill for communicating. And we're really happy to be here. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free. Don't hesitate to reach out and connect with me. I'm happy always to meet with faculty and talk about potential uses of Cursive in your classroom. So thanks.